I spent so many years of my life chasing closure. I used to always try to figure out, why did that person do that to me? How could they break my heart like that? After all I've done for these people, why won't they just tell me what it is? Where's my apology? When are they going to come and say they're sorry for what they did? And then I realized, I don't need their closure. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing that they're going to say to me that's truly going to make me say, okay, what you did to me was right. No. You know what I mean? And the little bit of comfort and peace that their words may or may not give me doesn't suffice. I realize that the people that hurt us the most are the people that we desperately want answers from. And I get that from a psychological standpoint. It makes sense. The same people that hurt us, we want them to heal us. You know what I'm saying? We want them to explain to us why they did what they did and what is the justification, and give me a reason that's good enough for me to say, okay, that's okay. And I learned, family, that the longer I was chasing closure is the longer I was delaying my healing. And that will go for you too. The longer you chasing closure from these folks, you're delaying your healing. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to make this video today. That closure isn't something that somebody else gives you. Closure is a choice. And I know that's hard to accept when you want what you want and when you want the answer that you are deserving of. Closure is something that you choose for yourself. And here's why. You may never get the answer that you're looking for. Because I learned, family, that some people are just not emotionally mature to give you the reason as to why they hurt you. Some of them don't know how. Some of them don't even know why they did to you what they did. I'm serious. And I'm not letting people off the hook. I'm just saying that everyone doesn't have it together up here. And everyone is not as mature as you. And everyone can give you what you deserve. And that's true. Because some people, instead of stepping up to the plate, they rather lie. They rather create their own narrative. They rather rewrite the story. They rather fall back, and they rather ignore and go no contact. Foolishness, yo. And maybe they simply don't care enough to explain themselves. And that's the thing too. Because in many of my situations that I dealt with in dealing with people, is that I was waiting for clarity from a person that literally lived in confusion. Think about it. Have y'all ever dealt with a person, their lives are just all over the place? They don't know if they coming or they going, really? And we're expecting them to give us something that they can't even give. Real talk. And that's why I learned to take people off the hook, because I had the expectation that people would show up like me in life. I wanted everyone to be me. I had to take them off the hook and realize everyone is not me. And they may not do things the way I do things. And it doesn't mean that because I'm me, I'm right. It just means I'm different and people are different. And every individual handles things differently. So who am I to think that I'm going to get closure from a person that lives in confusion just because I didn't at the time? No, that's not fair. So I had to take people off the hook and stop expecting things from people when these people hardly got their situations together, for real. And what I learned, family, is that every time we chase closure, we reopen the wound, yo. We reopen the wound every time we chase closure. Because think about it. Every time you check their social media, every time you want to see what they on, every time you want to see what they're doing, every time you want to follow up with them and see what they got going on, you reopen up the wound. Now you're seeing things you don't need to see. Maybe they done found a new him. Maybe they've moved on to a new her. I don't know, yo. But none of it is healthy. And when you reopen a new wound, you reinfect yourself, and it's not necessary at all because we're looking for closure. We're never going to find the peace that we need in these people, because sometimes, right, for the ones that don't give closure, because maybe some of them do, but I'm speaking for the ones that don't give it, we got to learn that we're not going to ever find our peace in looking for closure within them people. Because you cannot heal a wound that you keep reopening, man. When you sit up here rereading old messages, looking at old text, that doesn't mean that you're going to get the closure that you need from a person. It does not. It just means that you keep reopening the same wound. And here's the realest thing I learned. Really, the realest thing I learned. Their actions already gave you the answer. In my situations that I've dealt with friends, family, whoever, their actions already gave me the answer. I'm sitting up here looking for closure when their actions told me exactly what it was. You know what I mean? Real talk. I have this false expectation that they're going to come and bring peace and rest to my soul and my heart. No, their actions told me exactly what it was, if I'm being honest with myself. You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing, to be honest with ourselves. Their actions are already telling you what it is. Because sometimes we spend so much time wanting an explanation that we are truly ignoring what it already is. Ignoring what things are. It is right here, and we can see it. It's all in front of our face, and we're ignoring it just because we want to hear from them and we want their response. I mean, and if you ask yourself, did they lie to you? Did they disappear? Did they hurt you? Like, you might be able to say yes to one of those things, if not all. You know what I mean? So their actions already give you all the closure that you need to move forward truly. And because their actions already answered every question, we may not like the answers. We may not like to face ourselves and be like, you know what? That person did me dirty. And maybe, you know what I'm saying, I could have seen it sooner. Maybe I could have seen that this person played in my face sooner. That is a hard realization to come to. Real talk. Because now you're forced to have to move forward and give yourself the closure that you are seeking from them. People explain themselves with their actions long before they explain themselves with their words. Facts. And you want to know something else? Closure and wanting closure and chasing closure keeps you emotionally attached to another person. It keeps you emotionally attached. When you keep asking yourself every day, man, why? Why did they do that? Look at the situation I'm in, and it's because of them, or whatever the case is for you. And you asking yourself, why? That is another day that you are emotionally attached to someone who hurt you. Because think about it, family. Let me get close when I say this. While you were trying to understand yesterday, your future is waiting. Real talk. When you are trying to understand yesterday, you are putting your future on pause. You know what I'm saying? Putting your future on pause, trying to understand yesterday, your peace, your success, your prosperity, your ability to move forward, all the things is being put on pause because we're trying to relive a yesterday that is no longer here because today is a new day. Because truly, your peace, your purpose, all the things I just named cannot begin because you're living in an old chapter. Because your next chapter cannot begin fully if you're living in that last chapter. And that's facts. Because the longer we chase closure, the longer our past controls our future. And honestly, family, real closure is a decision. It's not a conversation, yo. Real talk. That was one of the hardest realizations I had to come to when I was waiting on everybody to tell me they sorry. How could they do this to me? Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? Being human, right? I wasn't necessarily wrong in my feelings and how I approach things, but I learned that real closure is a decision. It is not a conversation. And that was a lesson that changed everything for me. That closure doesn't begin when they apologize. Closure begins when you stop needing them to, yo. When you get to that point where you no longer need them to apologize, to say they're sorry for anything and everything that they did. You don't need it anymore. For what? Because you finally decide, yo, I don't need another explanation. I don't need them to give me some other reason. I don't need them to understand my pain. I don't need them to tell me what I think I need to hear. No, you simply move forward and make the choice that you're going to close that door. And when you choose peace, that decision is actually freedom, yo. And it may not feel good in the moment, but it allows you to move forward, to close one door so you can live in this present moment. You know what I mean? And open a new door. Because truly, the day you stop waiting for closure is the day, absolutely, that you become free. And I get it, yo. It makes sense. Some people hurt us so much, and we're like, man, after all the years we spent, after all the times and the things and all the places we've been to, you know what I mean? How could you do this to me? How could you just stone cold betray me? How could you truly take me to a place, you know what I mean, that I never would have trusted you to take me? How could you do that? And we wonder why people do the things that they do. And I learned, family, I really had to stop trying to figure out people. Like I promise you, I used to spend so much time trying to figure out why people do what they do. And then I realized people do what they want, yo. No, look, end the story. I could end the video right now. People do what they want. That I can end on that right now. That's it. People do what they want. And they do what they want for their own reasons. And while it may not make sense to us, we are not them. We are not their chemical and emotional makeup. We're not living inside their body, yo. We don't know why. People do what they want, but people do what they want, yo. And it doesn't make them right. It doesn't negate what they did to us. But people do what they want. And I learned that we may not be getting closure from the people that we need because they do what they want. They may not want to give us closure. They may not even have a reason as to why they hurt us. They may not even know how to verbalize it. So we can't keep chasing closure because it's something that we may never get, and it keeps us living in the past, resetting a clock, redoing a day that's unnecessary, all because we're not getting what we want from another person that is not even capable probably of giving us what we need. Because so many people, so many of us think that, and so many of us spend so many years thinking that we're going to get that apology. We think closure is hidden in that one last conversation. Maybe they'll tell us they're sorry. Maybe they'll explain us why they did what they did. And maybe in a few days or weeks or months or years, maybe they'll tell us why they did what they did. But maybe they won't. And peace is not waiting for you in your past. Peace is waiting for you in this very moment. It's waiting for you in the now. It's waiting for you in the today. You can have peace now. You know what I mean? And I know, y'all, please don't let me and my words, my little eloquent words, make you think that I don't understand what it feels like to want closure. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be hurt. And you every day you're like, yo, what just happened? You know what I mean? How could someone who has a title of mother, father, sister, friend, brother, child, how could they hurt me? You know what I'm saying? Someone who's supposed to be my best friend or my whatever, yo, I know what it feels like. And I know what hurt and pain feels like. But I also know what it feels like to break free from that cycle of hurt, yo, and to break free from that pain and have the knowing and the understanding that they may not give us what we're asking for. Because some people will never admit that they're wrong. Some people will never say that they're wrong. And we got to be okay with that. And we got to understand that we have to stop chasing the closure that we may never get from them people because it's just driving us it's crazy, making us frustrated, losing sleep, stressing you out. It ain't worth it because your healing is not dependent on their awareness. If they know they did wrong, are they going to say sorry? Are they going to apologize? No, your healing and your closure is dependent upon your decision. So we learn, family, stop chasing these apologies. Stop chasing closure. These people may not even be mentally there to give it to us. You know what I mean? Stop chasing their explanations. None of that. And stop chasing people that already showed us who they are. And as hard as it is, we have to protect our peace. We have to choose ourselves and we have to have the knowing and the understanding that closure is not a conversation, that closure is a decision. And it is a decision that we're making to close the door to that past and fearlessly or fearfully move forward to a new and unknown future. Because at the end of the day, we're going to create the life that we want. And every single thing is going to come to us when we need it. And I promise you, that closure that you think you want now, man, please, yo, it'll be days, months, years later, and it comes. You're going to be like, wait, I don't even, like, I'm good. Who are you? I don't even remember this. I'm straight. You know what I mean? You may not even want the closure when you get it because you're busy working on yourself and creating a future that you know you deserve to have. And always remember, family, the greatest closure that you will ever experience is building a life that is so fulfilling that you no longer need answers from the people who try to break you. And that's on everything, family. Stay inspired. I want to thank you so much for watching my content. I started my YouTube channel just to share the many lessons I learned along the way in life, in love, in business, just in all the things. And it's such an honor that you're on this journey with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my page. More great things to come. Thank you so much. Stay inspired.